Are you trying to figure out what's the difference between the 10-year bar or the permanent bar? Or have you heard about these problems in immigration law and you're just not sure what they mean? Well, this video is for you. My name is Molina. I am an immigration attorney based in Dallas-Fort Worth and serving clients worldwide. And today we're going to be talking about the difference between the permanent bar and the 10-year bar. Immigration laws are complicated. It could be that you think that you have one problem and that it has a specific solution, but then it turns out for one small technicality, we actually had another problem that means that you cannot get the solutions that you wanted. And a prime example of this is the 10-year bar versus a permanent bar. Now, these things are very, very similar, but the penalties are substantially different. Okay, so let me explain them to you as simply as possible as I can. Okay, so the permanent bar is the 10-year bar plus another penalty. Okay, so think of it, the permanent bar is the 10-year bar plus. Okay, let me explain. So if you enter the United States lawfully or unlawfully, and you remain in the United States for over 1 year without lawful immigration status, okay, 1 year, and you then depart the United States, let's say you go back to your home country, someone's sick, or there's an emergency and you have to leave the United States. Well, at that point, you trigger the 10-year bar. Okay, so that is the 10-year bar. It means that you cannot return to the United States for 10 years. However, there is a waiver. There is a way of seeking absolution or forgiveness for having triggered that. It's a waiver, and you can get it if you're married to a U.S. citizen or lawful resident, or your parents are U.S. citizens or lawful residents. Okay, so that's a 10-year bar. However, let's say you trigger the 10-year bar, but you didn't respect that penalty. You didn't respect those 10 years, or you didn't seek a waiver, okay? And then you tried to enter the United States unlawfully. Whether you entered or not, whether you were apprehended or not, it does not matter. You triggered the permanent bar, okay? So it's a 10-year bar plus entering or attempting to enter the United States illegally. So because you did that, or the individual did that additional step of entering the United States unlawfully or attempting to, there's an additional penalty, which means that there's no waiver available for it. That's why it's called a permanent bar. There's no waiver for it within the next 10 years. So what that means is that the person must leave the United States, spend 10 years outside the U.S., and then seek a special permission to reapply to the U.S. That's why it's known as a permanent bar, even though the penalty itself is it's 10 years, but it remains in your record permanently unless after the 10-year period it is waived. Now, very importantly, the big distinction here is that the permanent bar does not have a waiver. Okay, it means that you have to spend 10 years outside the U.S. There's some other important differences. The 10-year bar period, let's say you departed the United States and then you entered lawfully, say with a visa or some other form, back into the United States. Those 10 years of the punishment that you got can run within the United States. It means that, let's say, you departed in 2001 after occurring over 1 year of lawful presence, and then you came back with a visa and stayed in the United States from 2001 to 2011, and then you're still here, you haven't departed. So that penalty went away 10 years after you triggered it, even though you remained in the United States. So, in fact, it's a new policy for many years. They would also ask you to spend 10 years outside for that. Didn't make sense, but now it does. So those are the differences. Okay, so one has a waiver, the other one doesn't have a waiver. And then one is more serious because you committed an additional infraction. Now, folks, if you have a family member, or you're looking at a case like this, and you want to know more, or whether you're not sure still, consult an experienced immigration attorney that can explain the process to you and can apply the facts of your case to end the law. Okay. If you like this video, please hit like, follow, drop a comment. And again, I'm Jorge Molina. Thank you for watching.